We kick off today's episode of Chicago Bears Now with a Jayden Daniels injury update. My name is Harrison Graham. Welcome in. Thanks for watching. Adam Schefter, kind of out of nowhere, hopped on Pat McAfee Show and basically said, the Commanders aren't really sure the severity of his injury at this point in time. Jordan Schultz had reported earlier that he's going to have further testing. We'll get you caught up on all of that here in just a moment. But first, Jack Sperry, the host of the Commanders Report, he got up in my grill today and said, we're going to beat your ass on the field and in new subscribers this week. I said, I don't think you know who you're dealing with when it comes to Bears Now in the Chicago Bears fan base. So prove him wrong. Hit that subscribe button. Let's decimate the Commanders Report and new subs this week. And our next milestone, 106,000? 106,000. Let's make it happen, and let's take down Washington. Okay, Adam Schefter on Jayden Daniels. He said they don't know yet if he'll be able to go on Sunday. I don't think it's severe, but they don't know if he's going to be able to play this week yet. I think it's up in the air right now. And that's not exactly a he's fine type of report. Now, Schefter, it's certainly kind of an incomplete, vague report, right? Like, basically, it sounds like, we're waiting and seeing how this feels, how it heals. And if you remember a couple of years ago with Justin Fields, remember he left the game with ribs and, the initial, I want to say the initial thing was tests came back negative, but then like the week went on and a few days later, it's like, actually, he's got cracked ribs. I wonder if a similar situation could happen here where you sleep on it, you wake up, there's more pain, you do further testing, it's like, actually, he's got cracked ribs, or actually, there's a severe bruising there. Because it's like anything else in football, when you take a major hit, suffer an injury, the day of, you're not going to feel it as much as you are the day after or even the day after that. Like NFL players talk about all the time, waking up Tuesday morning after playing on Sunday is like the hardest day. And that's why that's the day off for NFL players. They don't go into the facility typically on Tuesday. So I think this is worth monitoring. And Schultz had the report this morning, which we talked about on our preview, saying that further tests are coming in the coming days, which will provide more clarity. Again, the initial tests were negative, but things can change with, swelling, further bruising, etc. And this is obviously a big deal because for a couple reasons. One, just from an entertainment standpoint, I want to watch Caleb Williams play Jayden Daniels. Obviously, it's Caleb versus the Commanders defense, Jayden versus the Bears defense. But from a headline perspective, we want to see the top two picks play. But from a competitive on the field perspective, without Jayden Daniels, that's obviously a big loss for Washington. Now, Marcus Mariota came in and played pretty damn well, albeit Carolina's terrible. The Bears defense is a totally different animal. Preparing as the starter in a high-leverage game is a totally different deal than stepping in and playing against a bad team. But he did look pretty solid. Cliff Kingsbury did a nice job with him. But let's face it, if Jayden's out, that's a drop-off. And that is advantage Bears if that ends up being the case. So I hope it's not. I want to see these two guys play against each other this Sunday. It feels like the winner of this game could really kind of launch their season into a new orbit, if you will, and hopefully both teams are at full strength as we get to it. We'll get to some of the Bears injury notes here in a moment, but first, pin comment on today's show. Will Jayden Daniels play on Sunday against the Bears? Type P for play or W for won't. You're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break, so reply with a P for play or W for won't. On the Bears injury front, let's start with Jaquan Brisker. Matt Eberflus told reporters today that Brisker has a couple more steps to clear in the concussion protocol. Quick math, this is day 8 since he suffered the concussion. But remember, he didn't self-report until last Monday, so it's really been a week since he's been in the protocol. And when you're I don't want to use the phrase repeat offender, but when you've had multiple concussions, typically it takes longer to clear those steps in return, and I think this is number 3 for Brisker in the NFL. Sunday feels like 50-50. I would say that he has a decent chance of playing. I think Wednesday will be telling, like, does he practice? Is he cleared by then? If not, getting cleared by Friday, Saturday seems, like a longer shot at that point. So, right now I'll put it in that 50-50 realm. I would expect him to for sure be back next week, but certainly you'd like to have him out there. I mean, Washington's passing attack has been potent. Daniels can run around, and Brisker might be someone who's tasked with spying him from time to time. And we talked about it in our preview. if you have the chance to hit Jayden, hit him hard, and Brisker's someone who can do that. So we'll see if he's able to go. Hopefully he is. He provides an emotional lift. I will say this. I thought Elijah Hicks played pretty well in his absence. He graded out well per PFF, so I think the Bears at least feel okay if they have to trot him out for another game. Kyler Gordon, the latest on him. Eberflus said he did not participate in the walkthrough this morning. He's still working through a hamstring injury that he suffered against Jacksonville. That's a little tricky. Hopefully he can play, but if he didn't go through the walkthrough today, that doesn't give me great confidence. I would say it's less than 50-50 that he plays in this game on Sunday. And just looking at the corner group, the good news is it's one of the deepest units in the NFL. We'll see on Terrell Smith's status if he was able to return. But I thought Josh Blackwell played really well in Gordon's absence in that second half. Had an interception off of Trevor Lawrence, so he can hold it down. Again, you don't want to go with backups for extended stretches, but if it's one of those things where it's one more, two more games, I don't think it's the end of the world. But again, you don't want to be down 2 or 3 starters in your secondary against a Commanders offense that is clearly going to pose more problems than Carolina or Jacksonville did the last couple of weeks. All right. Speaking of the walkthrough, positive signs here. Scott Daly, who I assumed his season was done. Apparently he's okay. I don't know if he's full throttle yet, but looks like he's going to be okay. They did sign Jake McQuaid to the practice squad, a backup long snapper, so he's available if Daly can't go. Tyrique Stevenson was in the walkthrough as well. Remember, he tweaked his calf in London on Thursday before the game and did not play on Sunday. Kind of felt precautionary, which was probably the right move, and seems like he's going to be okay now. So if Tyrique and one of Gordon or Brisker can play, well, then you got 4/5 of your secondary. I'd be pretty – if I could sign up for that right now, I probably would. One of those two other guys playing along with Tyrique, because then you got Jalen and obviously Kevin Byard back there as well. All right, more to discuss in just a moment, but today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. And listen, football is full throttle right now. We got some exciting games tonight. I've got an entry for tonight, so stay tuned for that. We'll get to it in a second. But let's tell you first about what Prize Picks is. It's daily fantasy made easy. Football, basketball, baseball, other sports. You can set your lineups with at least 2 players, up to 6, and you just choose more or less based on the stat projections that Prize Picks provide. For example, passing yards, three-pointers made, strikeouts, etc. Think of any stat in pretty much any sport. It's available for you to put into your Prize Picks entry. And I got a little Monday Night Football action here. Derrick Henry just needs to find the end zone, a little goblin pick, easier to hit there. He's been a touchdown machine. And then J.K. Dobbins, I like the more on 80.5 rushing yards. He's been fantastic for the Chargers this year. 5 to win just under 15. But the best part about Prize Picks right now, if you're a new customer, create an account right now, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS. You're going to get a $50 deposit straight into your account. Little bonus action once you play for $5. Just got to play for $5 after you use our promo code, and you're going to be good to go. So sign up today. Use the promo code. Get play for $5, and you're going to get $50 deposited straight into your account. Okay, a little more injury news. Ryan Bates getting closer, according to Matt Eberflus, to opening his practice window. So does that mean he's getting closer to actually playing? We'll see. I certainly don't expect that he will be available this week, but maybe by like New England in 2 weeks, he could be an option. And certainly going to be interesting with the trade deadline coming up. We'll get to Nate Davis in a second, but obviously Matt Pryor's been holding it down at right guard. Tevin Jenkins played pretty well the last time out at left guard. Coleman Shelton's played better the last couple weeks at center, so if he continues to stat good games, I don't think they would mess with that either. But the significance could be of Ryan Bates returning is if they feel good about him getting back and at least being a depth piece, I would imagine the Bears would be looking to do anything they could to unload Nate Davis. Who Ian Rappaport over the weekend reported that Davis and Khalil Herbert were generating trade interest on the open market. I kind of speculated, is this more from the Bears standpoint, leaking that out, at least with Davis, just because he's not in their plans anymore? I'll say this, Matt Eberflus was asked about the Davis trade report. Didn't exactly shut it down. He said, I'm not going to talk about specific guys, but he did say, you're always going to have guys in conversations about trade talks. It's just part of the business. It's not exactly a dismissal, Matt. And typically Eberflus, like that's the type of question he would just completely not even entertain. Just be like, yeah, we're going to keep that in-house. The fact that he was like, yeah, guys get brought up in trade talks. Ryan's working the phones. It's like, Yeah, I think they would take just about anything to trade Nate Davis. And with Ryan Bates coming back soon and providing some depth, kind of makes that decision easier if that ends up being the case. So we'll see if a team is willing to bite. I would imagine the Bears would have to take on some money for the remainder of this year to do so. But if you can do it, get them off your books for next year. That would be well worth it. All right, will Nate Davis get traded? Type Y for yes. Type in for no. I hope he does. Got nothing against him personally. He's not part of this team anymore. So it is what it is. I thought Cole Kmet said something pretty interesting earlier. Wanted to dive into this before we get out of this segment. He was essentially asked, like, hey, there's been flashes in the past with you here with the Bears offense. Is there something you can point to that you believe could be a reason of this being sustainable this time around? Like, an example would be 2 years ago. Justin Fields, that month-long stretch where they averaged over 30 points per game. He was running wild. Then defenses adjusted, and the Bears didn't have a counter adjustment. Here's what Kmet said. He said, for me, it's hard to not say the quarterback. The quarterback is really good and super talented. Those are things you can really look at to rely upon from week to week. Whether it's the intermediate or short passing game, I think Caleb has done a really good job with that. And I don't think this is a shot at the other quarterbacks he's played with. Fields, Trubisky, Foles. He's played with quite a few now, Cole Kmet, despite being just year 5 of his career. But I think he's basically saying, like, yeah, I feel much better about Caleb than I have felt about anyone else I've played with. And why wouldn't he? Because in 6 games with Caleb Williams, and especially the last 3 or 4 in particular, he looks like a quarterback that the Bears, quite frankly, have never had. Someone who throws with accuracy, someone who throws with anticipation, someone who is confident as hell. Like Caleb Williams, you could argue this 3.5 game stretch since the second half of the Colts game is the best quarterback play we have seen for even just this amount of time since Jay Cutler. Probably better than that, considering the consistency and accuracy. The point is the Bears believe in Caleb. That the confidence in him is clear. And, yeah, if they're going to sustain success here, it's because they have the right guy in number 18. So that's pretty exciting to think about, and I just wanted to kind of react to that because I thought that was pretty strong from Cole in a kind of mild-mannered way. The way he said it, it's just like, yeah, it's kind of hard for me to not bring up the quarterback because he's really fucking good is basically what he said. So, all right. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Those are the latest news, injury updates for you guys. My name is Harrison Graham. More to come here on Bears Now.